To who do I owe the pleasure to have in here and spending this fine evening with? JP, what a pleasure. How's it going, brother? Nice to see you. Are you having a great Friday? Cat system. Well, the new people maybe that pop in. All the people that have been here for a while uh, would have been mentally prepped for this because they understand the overall image. You guys understand the long-term image. Where are we heading? What is really the catalyst that will shoot this whole thing up the sky? What's up, Peter? Are you having a great Friday, brother? Ugh. No, the market maker was happy today. What's up, Mrs. Tahiti? Back in the natty. Uh, Sorry to you know break in your viewing on that. I had to put that video up first. I was loading it for a long time, trying to put it up, but it took like such a long time to process. Um, the Overall, like my situation, I'm doing the live on my phone now, like the good old days. Unfortunately, my laptop on the vacation, like the second day, I have no idea what happened to it. So I'm hoping that is the battery that went bad. It's just like literally like not even take the screen, the keyboard don't even power on or nothing. I have no idea from what. I'm assuming that it's the power. Um, you know. Oh shoot. Nature. But yeah, I'm assuming it's the battery. So I ordered one yesterday while I was driving, and now I'm hoping that it arrives at some point tonight, if not tomorrow. I already got my laptop all opened up and everything, so I'm just waiting on them to get the part, hoping that that's the case, and then I can get back to having my live with the setup that I have and everything. Um, Veronica Chase, how are you, my friend? Hopefully, you're having a great Friday as well. Good evening, AB from Virginia. Had the day. Glad you're coming on still, holding. That's what's up. Love it, my friend. Peter, sure am. We finished over 50. It's a win for us to a smaller degree. It is a big win for us. All good, brother. Um, I'm just watching this person do a reverse over here. They're like on the other parking lot away from my property, but they're doing some weird drive-in techniques. I don't know what they're trying to do. Anywho, um, it's a great win for us, but the most important thing is to understand when and how this ball will drop. Like when I say that the cat system, like and all these other catalysts, and you guys heard this before many times, is not like was never like something like don't put your hopes 20 NSC C 2021-10, all these regulations, all other catalysts, yes, they will always find loopholes, but that ties in psychologically to you because they know that affects you. They lead people on with these things, and eventually, when they come up short, because we're so programmed in life, for example, to do something to get something, like you work and you get paid for your work. If somebody comes to you and say, "Oh, you're not getting paid this time," how are you gonna feel? Obviously very let down, and you're going to take it down to a different realm. Some people might act crazy, some people might just walk away, call authorities, whatever. We've been in that situation. They know psychologically they're leading you on this with this. When you look at it, there's so much corruption all around in people's mortgages and in the stock market. That one single issue that most of the community has is the lack of seeing the overall picture. They're too fixated on one thing, on one idea, and they therefore it becomes their world, and that's fine. But when you've been in the market for a very, very long time, and you see also history, because I'm still 33, about to be 34, so I'm not that really old. As far as to say, like I was still in 2008, in my college days, like in those years of, as far as like as far as my time on this earth. But more importantly, I was involved and seeing exactly what was happening to people. I've seen what people lost homes. Mrs. Tahiti, there's a saying that says, ask an experienced person than asking a doctor, because at least someone who went through something, they know a lot more than the person that is studied about it, no matter how many years, and they come in to talk to you about it now, or try to tell you about it and all that stuff, because the experienced person went through it. So, Mrs. Tahiti, again, I would never forget what you shared with me and the community as far as what happened to you and your situation back in 2008. And look at you here, back again, trying to, stick it to them this time, to try to earn back what they took from you back then and now and for the future. And honestly, when you see that stuff, you can tell that all of this, the housing market, the student loan bubble, the stock market, from all around, from every direction, everything's falling globally, not just here in the States. We've seen what happened in Sri Lanka, and we've seen what, like right now, they're all, like many random people are sleeping in the palaces. No prime minister want to take the job because what can you do? There is no mullah. There's no money, because the system itself is built corruptly. And that's why idiots like King Griffin come out and say every economic cycle ends with a recession, which unfortunately is not necessarily has to be true. Is just because if it's built crookedly, then that's when you would have that saying apply. You guys know also that in here, I've been prepping you for all that, because imagine if a CAT system was to go live now in 2024. Let's say it goes on in 2024. When they look back from 2024 to now, when they look back at it, they're not gonna find any FTs. People are that again. That's the most the biggest issue with our community, is that most people are too fixated on one thing. They're not looking at all the pictures to put together a movie, so they can understand the whole thing of what's happening and what the whole movie is about. I understand people are saying they have money in the background, that they can pay for this and all that, but that's the problem. Like, I don't understand how sometimes some creators can come out and say this, and say that they've been in the market, they understood 2008, they survived it, or they've been around with it, they were in it, they were not in it, they saw it, whatever the case may be. But say that these people have money. The one thing that happened in 2008 that is, these crooked thieves did not pay the money. They brought down the market, and the government bailed them out. They didn't bail us out. When the bailouts happen, who paid the tax? You and me. Except even when they put these taxes up, the other side is not paying it, because they got a lot of nonprofits. They have a lot of nonprofits. They have a lot of loopholes they could jump in. And we can, in a way, like, they set that system, they designed that system to fit their niche. Like, if you go and you want to open up a business, you're going to open up a business that revolves around your thoughts, and you're going to put you in that business. A lot of people might not like it, a lot of people might not agree with it, but you are the god of that situation, or the household, or that business. You are the sole contributor and the maker. So it comes back to you. In this case, it's a whole ship, the globe, the economy. Let's just talk about our nation for a second and zoom in only on our nation, at least in the United States, at least I would say. And you're being in here, and we zoom on right, literally on the events and the things that are happening in the United States, and you see that these people have loopholes here, 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 of all the 1% or 10%, whatever you want to refer to them as. But when the taxes get raised to pay off for these bailouts, the people are paying it. So these people on the other side, they're eating on the way up, they're eating on the way down, they're eating on the way of consolidation, and on the way back up again, and then the way back down, and then they survive that consolidation again, then up. It's a vicious cycle. Once you understand this mindset and you understand this talk, and you see that this is where it's leading to, then you'll understand we are, in a way, part of the market, but in the same time, we are not in the market. Because we personally, it's not only about the market. So many things are over leveraged. It's a whole crisis from all angles: housing, loans, student loans, stock market, political downturns, and political influence, war on the horizon. You got destroyers, U.S. destroyers being in Chinese waters, or the other side is saying we kicked them out, and then this side is saying no, we didn't. They didn't kick us out. We're practicing our right. And if they're going to attack the Philippines, rather than just, if they're talking about China, if they're going to attack the Philippines and oppress the Philippines, that's also an ally for us, not just Taiwan. So we'll be ready to do whatever. And now we're looking at Iran. We don't want them to have their hands on nukes. We're all pawns in this game, which is okay. It's okay as long as you know what kind of pawn you are and you understand the game. Therefore, you know your next move. You move accordingly on that board. It's okay. Kings, queens, and bishops and rooks and all that, and knights have different kind of moves. They have luxuries that we don't have, but you can grow. We could grow ourselves to become that, and that's why we're holding this stock, because this is one of the ways. There's many other ways that people will benefit from this these times that we're moving into. Many. For me personally, and for you guys, if you're watching this, you're one of the me's at this point. We chose this path to overall financial freedom and influence to a better life. And we have a really good case. Think of it like this: when everything crashes, and I'm about to make you guys feel really, really, really good about this. This is why when I keep saying don't focus too much on all these catalysts, I'm not saying like don't say no, we don't need it. It's wonderful if it comes. But watch this. What good would be, like, think of it like this. How can I put my brain into all like into words right now? Imagine, no, not imagine. Once the these hedge funds are losing, like BlackRock today reported a 30% down on its revenue. It started in Q4. They got close to being not profitable, obviously, or not profiting, of 2021. Q1, they were in the red. Now Q2, another in the red. For as big as BlackRock, I'm surprised. And it's like, that BlackRock is an economy of itself because of the amount of assets they have. So the days of them saying, oh, Citadel came up, and AQR and all these other places came up and said, we're making profits, high record profits. These are lies. These are lies. I've made some videos to show you guys assets, because at the end of the day, look at the overall market. These people are over leveraged than us. At least we're in one bucket, right? We're in AMC. These guys are scattered all over the market. What is happening to value stocks? What is happening to all the other stocks? I don't care what stock. Choose across the board. Choose any stock and see how low it is. I guarantee you it's beyond 20%. The best case scenario is probably 20% in the red. And these people are heavily invested in all of these positions. They need the synthetic war. so that they can keep pushing this down the line. And what I mean by pushing this down the line is push it to a point where the government comes into play. Everything is falling apart. These guys, the only way that they can continue with the synthetics and all these FTDs is because they can pay to play still for the corruption. It's now nowhere near covering anything, but they can play, they can pay to play right now, eventually, until the plate or the bandana or whatever, the stick, is handed over to the officials and to the government. And at that point, the side that we're fighting against steps into the shadows. They take all their money, unfortunately, corruptly, because this is how it went down in 2008. Just letting you know. This is just a much more, on a much bigger magnitude, globally also. They'll step into the shadows. They'll take all the illegal money that they took with them, and whoever at that point still on board on this ship from us, you'll be rewarded handsomely. This is not financial advice. This is my opinion. This is my conviction and how I'm moving on this with this play and a few other memes. I mentioned them previously to everyone. So once the government bails it out, guess what? Who's gonna pay the taxes and live through the next following 2, 3, 4 years at least of Armageddon on Earth? The people, the citizens. And when the people and the citizens are paying for it, this is why I remember months ago when I told you that this squeeze is going to pay itself out from the people, by the people, indirectly through like this explanation that I just gave you. The ones that are not in the stock market, they're going to pay for this squeeze. They're going to be indirectly part of who pays for the squeeze, because afterwards, after we get our money, who's going to be paying the taxes to try to get this nation back on its feet? And that's just saying the United States. Imagine globally. The common folk. Even if interests are put on everybody, we know the other side, how they got so many nonprofits and loopholes so that they don't have to pay tax, which eventually is okay with them. But when they walk away, imagine if 100% pie, full, it's 100%. Nothing has been cut out of it. These greedy fucks come out of nowhere. Sorry for the F word, guys. And since they're the small percentage, the 1%, they can take a bit from the 99%. A bit is huge because it's a collective 99%. But that bit is a lot for the 1%. They'll take that chunk. Once they took that out of it, now the pie is, let's say, if they took obviously 10% of the pie, now the pie is left 90%. That 10% is huge out of that 99%. So when they take that 10 and it moved into the shadows, there will be 90% left that basically, or 100% left that the government will take care of. But technically there was 90% that the people will eventually be fighting over or will be paid out of, because eventually the common citizen or the common folk is who's going to be getting this country back on its feet. And these guys that go into the dark realm or the shadows with all the money they stole into islands and Swiss bank accounts, these guys are going to be on the forefront. Many of them are going to be appointed with special jobs because of the history that they had. And this is where you see the Morgan Stanleys, the JP Morgans, and the Citadel Griffins, and all these guys suddenly re-emerge in 2-3 years after the post crash, or a year after the crash, with new and innovative ideas that the government will be pushing for, because at the end of the day, these guys, their reputations, or not their reputations, their proceeds speak for themselves. How do they got to those proceeds? You and I know. The people in this channel know. And other channels maybe too as well. But overall, nobody can cover this except the government. These hedge funds are not in the game to do a lot of corruption, and end up paying for all of it and pay more out of it. Just think of it like this. It's common sense. It's like you and I. And I'm not going to compare us to hedge funds. I hope not. But it's like survival of the fittest. If you want to, if there's just one thing, I don't know what's the best example in this point, but it's pretty explainable at this point. You guys get it because you see that that side want to survive, and by surviving their terms, they go about it obviously in a very terrible situation, in a very terrible way. To survive, they need to take from you and me, well, you and me, and by doing that, the only way they could do it is by taking the money and fucking everybody. And sorry again for the F word again, guys, because I get like over emotional when I know the true intent, the evil true intent of the other side, and it gets me more emotional when I see a lot of people are still scrambling around whenever any SEC filing goes on a docket or whatnot, like NSCC 2021-10. Oh, it's over. MOAS is over after it because it didn't get, and it got postponed. Now CAT system. Oh, we're done. We're doomed. Not everybody's saying it, of course, but there's a huge amount. There are other creators or Reddit posts or Twitter or whatever. It's all psychologically connected. Like, oh no, CAT system, no, that means we're screwed. That's what we've been waiting for. It's just this. We're waiting for phase 7. We're waiting for phase 6. We're waiting for phase 10. We're waiting for phase 1000. It doesn't work like this. Once the money runs out completely, as we are in this is weird. This is different than 2021 completely, and all of you guys know this, I hope. But when they can no longer corrupt something in order to squeeze money out of it, and yet if they still have a chance to try to get you out of your position for less than your average or what you bought it for, that's 100% win for them, 1000% win for them. Once you make it to the finish line, I just like to tell you, you will be happy, you will be rewarded, you will be great. But take them out of the equation, these corrupt hedge funds or the citadels and whatnot, because it's not going to be them that will pay you. This is my opinion. It's not going to be them that will pay you. It will be if you want me to put it in matrix terms, it will be us, the common citizens, that will be paying for it when it's all over and said, and over the years, as the government taxes people after they bail them out now. But over the years, that's what we will be paying. But in that time frame, they'll already be laying out the groundworks for the next evil scheme to be determined. Whatever. We're in the end times, guys. Once they can't continue to squeeze money out of shit, once the government steps in and says, obviously, and I'm not talking about suspensions or whatever, we're going up in price. Right now, they have some money to continue to go ahead and do all these schemes. Why would you need a freaking, right now, I understand they don't want this CAT system, and I understand they're doing it psychologically to F with you guys and with us. But when you're not worried about it, you know that ultimately who's paying. If you think about it like that, and you see who's going to pay you really, because if you believe in a market crash, you and you believe in the history of repeating itself, then you have to believe that's who's going to really bail you out, is the government. And eventually your people, the common folk, are going to pay it back through the years in higher rates, as we're seeing. Right now, you're seeing people losing their jobs. Think of it like this. More people lose their jobs by next month. Just 2 months ago, everything seemed like the best times for hedge funds on the other side. In over a month and a half, just like this, the Feds now aggressively want to hike rates. They want to tackle inflation after 2 years of sleeping on the job, watching porn or whatever. 2 years of sleeping on the job, and then now they want to do all this aggressively. It's not to make, like, it's not because they care about the common citizens, because they know that when you go too fast and try to hit the brakes all at once, something breaks. What is that something? The economy. When it does break, what happens? What happens to everybody else? The government steps in to bail out the economy because they can't have, oh my God, we can't just turn into a third world country overnight. We need to bail out these banks. You see it on a reverse repo every day. I quoted that back in February of this year because that's when the channel started. uh, and they're carrying it on until it gets obvious. You see it till the housing market crashes all at once. When it all crashes in at once, you'll be paid all at once. That's my opinion. It's not financial advice. For me, it's my opinion. They might come and arrest me now for this, but again, it's family first, everything else second. Um, guys, the writing is on the wall. For me, I see it that way. The writing is all over the wall. I've been saying it. So don't get tied up to these catalysts. Don't get tied up to this cat system stuff. Don't get caught up with all this stuff. You would love, it depends on how you approach this. If you want to change the markets, you're in it to change the markets and all that to a big and certain extent. You've been doing that, guys, and you've done it. You've done a lot, and you're still continuing to do it simply by holding. But if you want to do this for financial freedom and changing your life, patience is the key. Patience is the key. Remember, there's no way they can anger millions of people and ultimately say, okay, we all know that it's corruption. By now, everybody in the world knows it is. It's just nobody on the other side wants to come out in the media and actually call it as it is. We had a few ex hedge fund managers or whatever come out and say their opinions on what's happening, but overall, we the other side is constantly acting like, when Jerome goes and gets on a conference call, or Griffin, or any of these people, when they act like, it's the markets could go to rebound, or now it could come down in the next 4 to 6 quarters. It could. It's changing quickly, and as you can see, it is good for them to purposefully try to break the market. That's why the feds are acting aggressive. It seems like they're finally realizing, they want to make it seem like they finally realize, oh, inflation is not transitory after all. Let's try to tame this beast and hope for a soft landing. Well, they know they don't want a soft landing, because the only way that they could get to that situation where they can just go ahead and relieve all the top. Because again, if you're listening to me, then you're technically listening to an overall conspiracy about all the other side. They're all, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, they're all conspiring with each other. I've laid this out back in February as far as the whole diagram of how they're getting money, why are they all doing it, why are they all in on it, from the feds to the freaking broker, the little payment for order flow broker. There is monetary advantage for all of them to be doing this. That's why. And that's what they're all in it for. And ultimately, when the shit, because again, once you're the number one economy in the world, when it all hits the ceiling, because they know once you take from something, eventually something just got less than what it was. Overall, that makes an imbalance in the overall infrastructure throughout everything, the whole nation's infrastructure in every industry. Over the years, we're building on top of something that a shaky infrastructure, eventually it's all going to fall. And they don't care about that. In fact, when it gets to a certain height, that's why they call it every 10 to 12 years, there's an economic recession or whatever. It's because since the whole thing was built so shaky and manipulated from the get-go, eventually it can only go so high, and that's when they want to crash all of it down so they can repeat for the next scheme, continuing to transfer from the overall majority to the 1%, which is, by the way, human nature since almost the beginning of time, since empires have been made. The only difference here is technological. Kings and queens and government leaders throughout history, whether the horse and torches days or whatever, or even until they got to the rifle and the cannon days, it was always for the elite and the rich and the lords and the elders and all that crap. It was all done for that purpose. Now it's the same thing. The only difference is just done in a different image with technology and a digital world style. Because they know ultimately the 99% will overall always, that's their business, is us. We are the business for them. They're investing in us. They want to keep you depending on the government. They want to keep you dependent on the corporate life, working for them. They want to keep you going to school, and that's a very good thing. It's not a bad thing. But the problem for me in that realm is what they're teaching you and how they're prepping you to be a great lab rat, to be a great farm bird that can basically just eat based on what they offer you. And sometimes when they offer you a promotion, yes, thank you, it's an extra $1.50 or $2 an hour, or I'm got a bonus. So you're always kissing the corporate Uncle Sam's forehand and the ring, and staying away from the politics. Stay away from understanding all this. Don't go depend on yourself. Don't go open up your own franchise. Look at these franchises. With all this crap, even corporate is getting drilled from within. Look at your common Dunkin' Donuts in your neighborhood. Watch if it's still gonna be around within the next few months. These people that own these franchises, they gotta pay a fee to Dunkin' Donuts, whether it's 15 or 20%. As these times are getting worse with inflation, and they got to get all their products and all their inventory from the mother company as well. I'm just dwindling it down for you guys to a smaller scale so you can see like how big this is, even on a smaller level. It affects every particle in this life. How can these franchises continue to make profits when they're paying 20% of their revenue or their sales to the mother company, and on top of that they still have to buy the things, but things are much more expensive now because inflation is skyrocketing? You're going to see foreclosures or business for sale. And further, the overall attack, when I said many times before that this is also a major attack on the freelancer, the citizen who wants to be free. You want to go and open up your own small business and see if you can become big with it. We had a boom in that world, in that realm, over the past 6-7 years. And that's a problem for them, because who can they control? If you declare your independence, you're living here, you're still an American, you're not going against the flag, you're not going against the country, or if you were even Canadian or from any country, the overall is you're within that government. And I'm not trying to entice people to go and do some crazy stuff for against the governments and do crazy stuff. That's up to you if that's something that you want to do. But I'm trying to give you the image of how they try to get you philosophically, and therefore you need to play the same game. It's an attack on the common citizen who tries to get their freedom. Once you don't no longer need the corporate world, you're no longer tied to them. You're free. You can do whatever you want. That's why my life dream was to always work for myself and operate my own businesses, play Monopoly with my own life. Yeah, it's a little dangerous, but once you unlock that realm, you no longer can worry about what can happen with you tomorrow. You can always make it. Even if you fall on your knees in life again, you can get right back up because you know how is it like. The people that are in the corporate realm, all they know is how to be again, and I'm nothing against people in the corporate world, and I'm not trying to make you feel like you're an idiot or any of that. No, you're very knowledgeable, and you have to make choices so that you can guarantee quality of life, because that is something that can guarantee you. Yeah, I could get a job, I don't care what happens, They're gonna pay me no matter what happens. Uh, but the problem is once you get let go and they fire you, or they'll just let you go because they say, hey, we need to cut our workforce. Those individuals, all they knew was how to study, how to learn, get that particular job, whatever industry they're in, and eventually rely on that. And when that goes away, you go into this rinse or washing cycle to try to get a job or a similar job in some other realm. How many of you know people that have degrees in something, but they're working either 2 or 3 jobs, and one of those jobs might be relevant to what they went to school for, and perhaps in some case none of the jobs that they're working have anything to do with what their major was or what they were specializing in, because again they it's a whole play from the school to from the part where you go to school, you've been trained, till you go to college, till you get out of college, until you work for that workforce. Now they're making sure that they're good on social securities, and it's so huge. It's so huge, and it goes far down the line in the years. So anybody that wants to go and try to be independent, they gotta hit you. They can't have that, because all they can benefit from you, especially if you learn the game of tax and how to make a nonprofit as your own business, which is playing by their rules. As those numbers start surging in people or in lifestyle, that forms a huge danger to them, because that could eventually at some point equate to the extension of their power strangle on the whole system. When we imagine if 80% of us, and we're the 99%, imagine if 70 to 80% of us don't need and are not working for no corporate. We're all freelancers. We're all in our respective whatever industry. No, not everybody thinks alike. So we're all different, which is the great advantage here. Somebody's going to be doing that home building, whatever idea. Many people will flourish in it. Every community needs wood and home built supplies instead of the Home Depots and the Lowe's and whatnot. Somebody will get onto that. Restaurants, so many people have the passion for that, but most people work for bigger restaurants so they could get guaranteed pay. But when we are in markets like this, you all this time you've been paid and working. It could be a stressful job or a happy job, whatever, however way you look at it, but eventually you're being paid and kept in the dark away from times like this. So when times like this happen, you get blindsided. You're like, I don't know what to do. Everybody, we're all in this mixer. We are in this blender, and we're all getting screwed. I don't know what to do. So this is also a direct attack on those minds, on those people. The people like me, the people that don't want to kiss Uncle Sam's ring. The people that don't want to live their life based on what they dictate for me, or I have to shape my future plans around them being in the whole, like in the whole decision, or in the whole makeup of all the plan. For so long now. Frankie Muhammad, what's up, brother? How are you, Ak? Assalamu alaikum. Veronica Chase, back to work tomorrow, but a short day tomorrow. Nice. AB, I watched and went through it, and I'm telling you, this is going to be worse. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Mrs. Tahiti. 1000%. AB, I had a family member and friends lose a lot in 2008. That's why we are here, AB. Water the dominoes while the dominoes fall. Exactly. What's up, Radwan? How are you, brother? From the UK, huh? You're Peter Jefferson. You're right about catalysts. Most of them are nothing burgers. If this GME dividend don't cause a spike in any way, I'll just buy, hold, and wait until it squeezes. And you see, that's the point, Peter. And you hit it right on the nail. They want to get people to anticipate something so that when it doesn't pan out, then they lose all, like, psychologically. And that's something that's very insidious that they do. Psychologically, you're just gonna have that letdown, and when you do, how many people have that courage to fall and get right back up? Like, how many Rocky Balboas out there? Obviously, there are many. I don't know everyone, but not there's many. There's less out there that are Rocky Balboa's mindsets than there are that are not Rocky Balboa mindset. There's much less. So, to those people who don't have that mindset, you can work into growing into that mindset. And when you see things like this, how they're happening, when this side that are paying nonstop just so that they can continue to rip people off, it's because they're not delaying or pushing that can down the road. I don't care about what they're doing, like as far as kicking the can down the road. For me, I'm gauging it. I'm not looking for it just, oh, okay, day to day, day to day, day to day, day to day. I can see the writing on all over the wall that they're just waiting for everything to fall apart. The housing market, the student debt, the loan issues, everything in every aspect. Jobs, when it all falls apart, obviously they step out of the way. Government steps in, forks out money. We're going to be a part of the people or the lucky individuals that get money, and we go into the sunset. They go into the sunset. Overall, the common citizen who's not in the light with all these things that are happening is going to be left with the bill over the next many years. And if we don't take care of our positions as far as post MOAS, if you don't have a plan as far as how you're going to tackle out your whatever taxes and how you go about it and what do you do to avoid paying so many taxes and whatnot, whatever the case, whatever you do, then you're going to be part of those individuals that are going to be paying that bill. Let's see. Got 15% left. Let's see if there's any questions. I'm glad to be back. I just can't wait till my battery comes in so that I can try to fix my laptop. Mr. Panulo, how are you, brother? Nice to see you in here. Ta, 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 ta. Baby Dogezilla. What's up, Aventura's Dania? It's a long name. Captain Tahiti. Who's Captain Tahiti? It's one of my mods. So which one are you? uh Me neither. Peter Jefferson saying me neither, but too many people hype up catalysts and they go now nowhere. AB doesn't do it, but many others do it. Like the EO with the Chinese companies did absolutely nothing. Um, yeah, if you're anticipating this play day to day like this, you're setting yourself up for a lot of letdowns because overall, you're just looking at it at a small picture, at a small corner of the picture. You're not looking at the whole frame. Ultimately, it's about who's going to be paying for this. We can all go to a restaurant and eat as much as we want and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, if it's somebody's event or whatever, then everybody eats. Eventually, that person is going to pay for it. But if everybody is paying for themselves, oh, it's going to be handled differently. Like, I don't need all this. No, I don't need that. I just want to eat this part or whatever. I'm not saying that this is how AB obviously thinks, but you get the point. That was a good example. So they're eating at the expense and they're forking away so many things at the expense of who? The government. Who does the government make its money from or take the money eventually from? Us. Taxes. Peter, yeah, it's why I'm happy. Oh, sorry, for Veronica Chase. AB, this what happens when corrupt is in charge. it starts to broil over, and people are getting tired of corrupt system and the world. Yeah, you're gonna have, like, there will be times for sure where you'll have like what's happening in Sri Lanka as far as them raiding the palace, and now sitting in it and refusing to leave until things change or whatnot. You're gonna have that everywhere. It's already about to happen in Argentina. It's been happening in Venezuela, anyways. Unfortunately, many other nations are going through it. People here are beginning, especially after forking so much over the 4th of July weekend, because that's just what we do here. 4th of July, we just spend what we have and what we don't have. And sadly, that should be the way. After all, we're not immortal. So we should be, yes, enjoying our lives every day. But they triggered that. They know, they have a way to psychologically, like, okay, you know what? That is the true way of how humans should think. But we're going to target that to make money out of that, and rob these people so that we can eat a bit more, so we can cater to our lifestyle, the lifestyle that we can't live outside of. What? Are you telling me I can't have caviar every morning? Are you telling me I can't have a cleaners for my and even I can't have tumblers to my clothes? Somebody has to tumble my clothes and fix it, put it in my closet. This is how they think. To have all that without risking them losing all their money, they have to take it from someone else. Who do they look to? If you think of it like this, any of you watched the TV show before, The Strain? It's like these little vampire with the stingers, and they reach out and whatnot. Imagine them sitting on top, we're in the bottom, and every time they're hungry or they want some blood, I guess in this case, or money, they just reach out with the stingers to the bottom and leech out what they could take, and it's just one of so many. And that's been the way of life anyways for many different centuries. It's not just starting today or with AMC and GME. That's historically how corruption happens. It just gets more and more open in your face, because people are obviously now having all this technology and media to be connected. Now I can reach out to you. Many other creators can reach out to their fan base or to their people, and basically talk about it. And the more they talk about it and they see obviously more things are affecting their life in a negative manner, they're all saying, hey, F the heck with this, I'm out. I'm out. Something needs to happen here. The best way to do that, human wise, like as far as in a time manner, was when back in 2000, I would say 14, that's when we started having a surge in the ideology mindset of being independent and you taking care of yourself and working for yourself. Why work so hard to take or earn 5 or 1 or 2% of the 100% of the 98% that you're offering someone else, and adding into somebody else's wealth or pocket, aiding someone else get to Bezos, for example. Think of it like this, guys. If Bezos didn't have these hundreds of thousands of employees, what would Bezos' infrastructure or empire be? Nothing. He's not in those plants putting in packages, scanning them, and freaking shipping them out and all that stuff. He needs, in order for them to be that conglomerate or that huge, they need the masses. They need the people to be dependent on them. They need those conditions in the world, in the market that we're living in today, so that they can, have access to a plethora of amount of people. When people lose their small business or shuts down because of these inflammatory numbers, where do you think they gotta go? They gotta continue to live. Where do they go? They go with their tail between their legs back to the corporate world. They go back to work for the Bezos, the Gates, the Musks, and all these other people. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's God knows. God knows like how irritated I am from the inside for it, for all of us, for all of you, because we're all on that same boat. It's just nowadays, it's the same as the old days. Nowadays, it's just masked with the ties and the suits. Back then, it was with whatever, freaking shield and a sword and a rope. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. But we're in the right spot. We're in the right spot with this play. You just need to keep looking at the big picture and understand once you see that this is something that will be taken care of at the end, because they're not gonna just, like in 2008, let all the banks say, okay, well, we're all about to default, because all the banks are involved in this. There's some stupid creators out there, I'm sorry for being like direct like this, I'm not gonna name names, but there's some stupid creators out there that are like, they don't understand the whole market, the dynamic, they don't even understand the stocks, they don't even understand trading. They just want to make something out of this YouTube shit, and they're saying stuff that makes zero sense because they don't understand. Their intention is somewhere like in a different direction than truly trying to aid or help others or educate others along with them. That's the last thing. I feel sad. Like if they're doing that, that means they're in need. So that's that's why it's still very dangerous and terrible. They're leading people astray to way wrong down the line, way down in the wrong direction. A lot of them don't even think that the banks, unfortunately or apparently, they don't even think that the banks, the major banks, are involved. They are the whole equation. A lot of people think it's just the freaking hedge funds or it's freaking Citadel that is just doing this to us. These guys, where are they getting the money from? They're not, the feds are not just reaching out straight into Citadel's back account. The feds are not just reaching out into AQRs or freaking Sequoias or Virtues accounts or Robinhood's accounts. There's a middle. Who is the middle? The freaking banks. When repo and reverse repo operations are done, they're not done with Robinhood or Webull or Fidelity. They're done with these banks. They're the middle. The middle has to make money. They're like a market maker of a market maker. If hopefully that makes sense. They're literally like a market maker of a market maker. And that's why it's the highest, not just the highest honor, but if you ever get to a point where you open your own bank and they allow you the charter to have your own bank, that's when you know that you are sitting amongst the Draculas, amongst the Draculas, not the little vampires who were strobing around here and there, brokers and market makers. No, Draculas. That's who Ken Griffin kisses. That's who asked the King Griffin's kiss. And they're all in together. But since they're all tied into all of the stock market, they're tied in to all the housing market, obviously, where you're getting your mortgage. You're not getting it from the feds, you're getting it from a major bank, or you're getting it from a bank or a financial institution, right? When all these default, student loans, where are you getting it? Are you getting it from the feds? Is there a website, the fed.gov, and oh, I get my loan from there? I'm not talking about FAFSA. I'm not talking about grants. I'm talking about your loan. When all these bursts, all these bubble, the stock bubble, the housing bubble, the freaking loans of students bubble, all that bursts, who's in the center of all of that? The banks. This is why the government played it in a way, because if that got a no world no more, we won't have a country anymore. We can't let this go on like this. So we have to bail out the banks. A lot of people don't understand. And it saddens me to know that even this time right now, with all the technology around and the reach that each person could have, that people still confuse the fact that they still looking at the, like you're looking at the dog that the bad person is unleashing on us. I'm not worried about the dog. The dog is trained to do this. These brokers, these market makers, they're trained to do this. Who's holding that leash? Obviously, it's these banks. And once you think like this, you will see that all of this danger that is happening, that we're approaching toward. This is why I also say we're much closer to the end than the beginning. When you think that way, you're not going to concentrate on, oh, cat system 2024. Shit, I wait till 2024? If you think that way, you're automatically falling into the trap of how psychologically beat you out of your position, because they're not, like, even when we get to it, could at any given moment 20 next month they could be like, you know what, no, we want to pass this, put it on the direct register, because it will coincide with the perfect timing that will subject excuse me, will coincide with this, with the best timing, that they know that this is the time that they want this to take place, because it's not going to come back to make some sort of a huge international conspiracy. But the government will not let the banks default, because then we as a nation, everything is tied up to it. This is why a lot of individuals hate banks. This is why personally AB hates banks. It's because they create an ecosystem within an ecosystem, and eventually tie so many plugs from their servers into that ecosystem, within making themselves become the heart of that ecosystem. And now suddenly, what? This is a terroristic state. What happened here? Why are we so dependent on this? If this ecosystem, which is the banks in this case, was to shut down, so will the overall host body that hosted that system in, brought that system in, which is our economy. And this, bro, we can't just become a third world country and everybody jumps on horses tomorrow, hold up torches and forks. So we will bail them out. And by bailing them out, we're saving you, the great public, and God save and bless the United States of America. And everybody starts waving finally and all this stuff. We get paid, but ultimately over the few next years, if you don't have a plan to how to take care of your money, you're gonna be paying for the destruction, or like you're gonna be paying for the matters that they do, or the reason why they bail these banks out. You're gonna be paying for it, and every non-investor or somebody who's just working every day and just going back to their family, they're gonna be the ones paying for that. About no cat system. I don't care about no his dad. I don't care about all that stuff, because again, at the end of the day, I see the whole picture. But my reason why I don't care about is that much, because for me, my purpose from the beginning to get in this is to change my life and the things that I want to change in many other people's lives in different ways. Some other people have different approaches. Some people, like I said, they just want to do this because they just want to change the system, and they're visionaries and they're heroic, and yes, they have capes on, and they rightfully do. I don't have one on. My realm is different. I want to be able to be in a position of help so I can help people. It's pointless to be drowning with someone else and try to save each other, because we both are drowning. But once I'm in a position that can put me in a position to save and help others, then I can actually then I actually can put a dent in the system when I do act. Yeah, it's why I'm happy this is a place where I can hear market talk with extra hype about catalysts and other fluff, just straight overall market talk. Keep up the great work, AB. Appreciate it, Peter. You're the man, brother. Veronica Chase, preach, AB. Yeah, well, I've been preaching for a while, so I know I'm getting to it. I mean, just now getting to it. It's the clickbait YouTubers need something to talking about. Yeah, hey, and unfortunately, like at the end of the day, it's to the viewers. Like, if these people have views, a bunch of them, basically people entertaining it, then they say it's working. Let me continue to do it, and this time I'm gonna do it even more aggressively. This is why I don't blame some people who used to be valuable people in this market, like in this movement, and they've been like strong, and and now many of them have turned and became like shills actually, and said, you know what, I want to be a clickbaiter now and shill on this movement, because they lost their whole conviction. I'm not saying they're correct, and that's right, But I also don't blame them for what they did because they were so psychologically involved in this. They wanted to gain knowledge about the market. Fortunately, the people that are involved, the overall amount of the people that are involved with explaining these fundamentals are explaining it for a different purpose, for views and subscribers. Jeffrey, what's up, brother? I can't wait till the next live, bro. I can't wait till I get my part, that big battery for my laptop. So hopefully that, I mean, it's all open now, so I can put it in it, hoping that that's the reason why it went down. It literally on the second day of being in, down in Pigeon Forge. The Smoky Mountains were wonderful. Pokes, AB, can you go live tomorrow? I'll have all the time in the world to watch. Yeah, man, anytime. I mean, again, I'm going live regardless. It's you'll see me. You'll see me. Hello, Manjeet Bian. How are you, my friend? Nice to see you in here. Straight Talk with AMC Phil. Welcome in here. I never seen your name, but welcome in here, brother. I feel like AMC ain't never squeezing. Again, if obviously I'm just now getting to this comment, but I'm pretty sure you get the point, right? You probably heard me indirectly explaining your comment through all that talk. So hopefully that I'm never going to tell you to buy or sell, or yes, it will 100% squeeze and whatnot, but I give you a case of explaining the whole picture. And if you obviously get influenced by that, then you can go ahead and you know do more DD on your own and see if you see things the same way I do. And that's all you need at the end of the day is conviction. It keeps you away from all the psychological attack warfares. Uh, if it doesn't add up with you, then honestly, the only thing you got out there are clickbaits and people that are going to tell you, oh, we're waiting for this system, so you just have to wait until 2024 and all that stuff. But then if the squeeze happens next month or next week or 2 weeks from now, what are they going to say? Oh, they go forget about that talk and say, no, we don't. We, after all, we didn't need the cat system. They were afraid of the cat system. That's why they were like, you know what? Let's fix it up and clean it up right now, so that before it gets to that time frame. That's not the way that this works. That's not the way that this works. The plan has already been planted. Like the seed have already been planted on their side many months ago, in fact years ago, and it's just time to collect or harvest their to harvest their crops, and that's how they see it. We are just lucky. Well, if you last until Moas, obviously, we're just lucky that we are in this situation where we will be part of the people that will benefit, but overall it's coming from the common citizens. So we will be paid, but who will pay for it? The working normal people, the citizens, in a form of paying off the taxes that the government will bail out, because it will replenish its accounts after it depletes them from the people, by the people, all the counties, all the interest rates higher and all that stuff. But don't worry, because once you have money and capital, are you going to go right back to the corporate world? Are you going to go back to who really was pressing down on you, or had a strong hold or a foot down on your back or your chest? Are you going to go right back to that and kiss that ring again? No. Once you have the capital, well, for me, I'll speak for me here. You guys can say what you will do. But for me, I in some Discord calls, your plans are after obviously I get done with this. So it has nothing to do with working with anybody or any of that stuff. It's all going to be personal. I'm working for myself. I'm doing my thing, and I'm already been doing it since I was 21. So it's just going to be done on a much bigger scale. So that's the beauty of it. That's where you're lucky at. Leah, how are you, my friend? Good evening to you. Hopefully you're having a great Friday. How was your vacation, AB? Adrian Fernandez, Too short, I bet. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, man, I'm doing great, brother. I just need more sleep because my sleeping schedule has been all screwed up. Uh, and Adrian, thank you for being always a very, very positive light or beacon of light in the community. We always appreciate it, my friend. I call you a friend because we spoke many times also. So hopefully you're having a great weekend, brother, and a great Friday. Arthur, hello, EB. Just finished tour video about not needing cat. Good one, sir. Well, da, 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 da. Thank you, sir. I am honored to hear that from you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, AMC is good, bro. Yes, that's what I'm telling everybody. Cindy, yo. I heard it. I heard it, Cindy. Hopefully you're having a great evening. Monty Barter. What's happening, AB? Well, by the time I got to your comment, I'm pretty sure you knew what's happening. Much love to you, brother. Nice to see you here. Hoping you have a great Friday so far and overall a great weekend. Da, da, da. Jeffries, I'm up in the mountains for the weekend, so I'm in and out of service. Okay, so I was in the mountains, in the Smoky Mountains. Now you're in the Arizona mountains. Enjoy your time, brother. Enjoy your time. Uh, Joe Jet. Not disconnected, I connected again, sorry. But because it did that, it took out so many people who were watching. Banks are xenomorphs. Okay. Nice vocabulary, brother. PC3 AB, good to see you. Have hit that like button so other retail investors can hear AB's wisdom. PC3, you're another beacon of light in this community. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you, and thanks for everyone that did hit the button as well. Um, pretend the button, that like button is KG's nose, and sock it real good, y'all. Uh, Buckeye Ace, great info. Thanks. Well, thank you. Appreciate, and I'm honored to hear that somebody, that it was valuable to anybody, to someone else. Suggestions on a minimum shares to hold, ask him for a friend. Oh, okay. So Buckeye Ace, there isn't really, honestly, no one can really even say this because it's not a friend anymore at that point. It's more like a financial advisor friend. So on a public platform, no one can do this, and neither can they do this on even a private way. So there's no such thing as that. Honestly, it comes down to the conviction that you have in this play. And if you know your needs and what it will take to cover them, just sit down with yourself and write down how much you need to overall take care of that. So for example, for me, and you'll watch how I can bring this in a different way, in a non-financial advice way. So for me, I have my plan, as I just finished talking about, of what I will do with capital, or how much capital I need for my after plan to take care of me down the line when everything is in turmoil. Based on those calculations, that's where I induce the thinking of how much do I need out of this play so I can get to that. The idea for me is not to approach it like a lottery ticket, and it possibly is like that. Obviously, this play, nothing like this have ever happened before for the retail side. But if you approach it like a lottery ticket, then you're going to be out of that or the funds. Even if you hit or strike gold, you're going to be out of that money in no time, because after you get the money, then you're going to try to go ahead and act. And by doing that, you're going to be so acting behind with the money being in your possession, and you're going to see it leave your account in ways unimaginable. So have that plan ahead of time. Go ahead and actually count or calculate what would your next step or your future will cost you, what you need to get on that next ladder in order for you to secure a base of a certain lifestyle. And once you do that, you would have that number. And once you have that number, you know how many shares you would need and what price you would need to sell at in order for you to secure or have access to that, that lifelong dream or whatever it is that will ensure that you will be on the right path to financial freedom. Hopefully that answers the question. Veronica Chase, AB, I'm not going back to work. I'm starting my own thing, farmer markets. Ooh, I do one part time, so I know what I'm going to do. See, this is the beauty right there. See, they know. You guys know. You're even the job that you're doing right now, even if it's in the corporate world, guys. The remember about 4 months ago, I shared my story on how I was able to gain my first business, which was a cellular store. That was my first business at 21. So at 18, I sat down with myself. I wrote down a plan that would obviously gonna in that plan how to accumulate the capital to open my first business and to be my own boss. And when I looked at all these details, because at first I said, okay, by 21, first start with your goals. Say, is it that you would like to have, or what would you like to do? Start very broad and general. It's okay, and start doing like a vacuum process. Like, first put everything out there, distribute it out there. Okay, I like this. I like this. I want to do this. I want to do this, and then do a vacuum process where you're sucking all that stuff in, and in the same time, by doing that, you would have to write down ways of how to go about making that goal. So from 18 to 21, I knew that my first goal was at 21, I want to have my first business. Jesus Christ. Anyways, so at 21, I need to have my first business. Well, that's what I liked and that's what I wanted. But how can I get to that? The way I could get to that is when I sat down, I was like, I need to, okay, I worked in the cell phone store. I went to the guy that I worked for and I told him, hey, if you ever need a vacation, if you ever need to go overseas, he was a foreign guy. And he went to vacation with his family every summer. And sometimes he got to a point, I got him to get independent on me, so dependent on me, to such a high extent, like it was unbelievable. And he was very comfortable. He was like, yes, I'm paying him low wage to what he thought was a low wage. And in the same time, I'm not involved in the business. I'm happy. Little that he knew, I was approaching this differently. Not in an evil way. I was approaching it differently. I wanted him to be out of the scenes so I can be exposed to all the dynamics of that business, so I would know or have a picture on what I need to open or operate my own same business. So ultimately, when I seen all these things as I'm working, I was able to come back down and on that plan add the details. How can I by 21 have that first business? I knew what I needed from the store. I was running it. I knew I needed to learn how to fix phones, so I did that. I put a big time into learning all that. I took all these messed up phones, opened them up, see what it was like. Basically went through all that stuff. Then I realized that I need to understand where they get all their phones from, what major distributors do they make connections with so that they can have access to a lot of IOUs phones where you don't pay for it until the following week or the next order, because you built that relationship with them and you still obviously owe it to them at that point. But that's something big, because I can have a whole store and fill it up with phones, and at that point it's like, hey, let my selling do the work. If I sell so much, I can get that money, and with the profits I pay that bill off, and now I can have money to get more phones, and I can even upgrade the business. See, so it starts very small and very broad, but once you start yanking things in and start writing, filling in the blank, how you're going to go about it, what it is that you need to open one or to do one or whatever it is that you want to get into or your dream is. And don't stray away. Don't go for people's ideas. Go for the goals, because just like the stock market, what makes AMC community completely different is the conviction that the people have in the stock. Same thing in the business world. If you don't like a business and you just got into it because you heard and you see people make so much money in it, odds are when you hit a bump or a turbulence along the way, whether in the beginning, midway, or whatever, you're gonna fall right off the tracks because you yourself, you don't care about it. It's not something that you're very passionate about. So my single advice would be, don't jump into things, because it's not financial advice, don't jump into things that you yourself don't have conviction in. You need to have an interest in it. Uh-oh, look at that, it just told me I got 5% to go. So let me see where I'm at before it dies on me. Most likely it will die on us. If it just suddenly dies, guys, just know that AB loves you with much love. Adrian, I overheard Rocky by the water. Cooler sake. I love listening to you. That's what Leah said, and have pretty much had it with many other YouTube channels. I have my convictions. I'm stubborn and won't follow nonsense. Thanks for speaking the truth, Leah. It's an honor for me. Thank you. And I almost get shy enough to the point where I can't even keep a straight eye contact. But thank you, Leah. It means the world to me. Arthur Martin, for real folks, AMC's fundamentals are getting better and better every day. We won't need any help from a random catalyst from them. AMC will make this happen on its own. And there you go, Arthur. That's what I like to hear. Veronica, Leah, it's the same for me. It's AB, the Butcher of Wall Street, and Pantheon. That's my limits. And that's, for me, again, it's an honor, because to be put next to these guys in a sentence next to these guys, it's an honor. And I empower. I look up to these guys more than I look up to these bigger names that you know, like the Gates and the Bezos and whatnot and all that stuff. Because these people, I know their agendas and they're doing it from the ground up, and their intentions are great. Those bloodsuckers on the other side, they didn't make it their money and their wealth from being intelligent or whatnot. They took it from skimming people off and manipulating the system so that they can have an direct access to people, to an advantage over the overall public. My opinion on how few or many shares you need is what you can afford and what you're willing to invest, and not care if it goes red. In other words, to each their own. There is a correct answer on it. Nice one, Adrian. I also listen to the same people, but also enjoy Casey Shaw. That's another great guy. I'm reading fast, guys, because I don't want it to die quickly without reading somebody's comment, and hopefully it doesn't do that. Okay, I think I'm almost caught up right here. Arthur said, Veronica, exactly. I've cut out the line watching. I check out the price at pre-market and aftermarket, and the rest of my time is mine. I buy when I can, hold what I got, and go see a movie. Man, guys, this guy is an Aristotle. Like he goes and watches a movie almost every week, buys a large popcorn, a large soda, continues to do this on, put it on repeat, just because he cares about the fundamentals of the company. Imagine if everybody feels the same way or thinks the same way about the company. Which again, I kudos to everybody with everybody's means. It's different. I understand, but I support and I completely love the fact that we have those kind of individuals in our community, and everybody should be inspired and think like it along their means. Every bit helps, guys. Every bit helps. Casey's great for the morning numbers. Yes. We will be soon. Arthur, he will be soon. Remember, he recently moved, so he was busy with that. He's going live tonight, FYI, y'all. Oh, okay, for mass. That's another cool guy. He's a good friend. Veronica, Super Steven also, yes, that is another great DD, great guy. He just goes by another ape. Yes, go show him some love, guys. His YouTube channel goes by the just another ape, and you can put AMC next to it, and he'll just pop up. Subscribe and like his content. I mean, you would probably like his content. I'm gonna tell you to do it because you will do it on your own. Manjit Bian, how much longer can they drag this till the bubble of the housing and the student loans and all that stuff crash together? And it could be within a few months. I don't see 2024. I don't see that stuff. Again, I don't make financial advice. In my opinion, I just don't. Everything, once the housing, and the reason why I'm saying that is because once the housing market pops, that means everything else is popping with it. And it could take a little bit of a time, but that should be a great thing. If that's the case, then you could add more to your position. That's an opportunity to add more to your position if you want to do that. If you don't, then you're in the pit. You can't do nothing about it unless you want to get out early, or you can wait to see it out. At the end of the day, the choice is always yours, to everyone in general, not just to Manjit, obviously. Diaz, how are you, brother? Yes, hope you have a great weekend as well. I am not as good as Pam, but I am trying to help as I can, folks. Well, thank you for all you do for us, brother. AB, not 2024. Don't see 2023. 1 second. Thanks for the stream, AB. Have a good one, sir. Dying as well. Hold strong. We got this one, money bag, in the money bag. Thank you, Diaz, for the words of support. And this, I guess, this is my last comment right here on AB, not 2024. Or no, AB, it's a lot of empty houses sitting in Washington, D.C. and Virginia. Oh, yeah, you will see it all over, too. Thanks for the update, Veronica. So, AB, not 2024. Don't see 2023. Well, I hope you're not, like, that's not what you're saying as far as, like, oh, it's not 2024. You don't see it in 2023. That's not the case. These rates, you could see, okay, so the feds are actively, I hope I don't die out on any of these parts right now, because they're important. So as the feds keep hiking the rates, which intendingly they want to do that according to what I see happen, as I explained earlier, rates get interest rates and everything gets higher. It becomes worse on everybody else. Inflation is not going to be as tamed regardless. And people, when they get left of their jobs and they get let go, oh, okay, yeah, I see, Bian. So yes, when people get let go of this, the next step after people losing jobs are mortgage-backed securities, or not mortgage-backed securities, but their house mortgages, the housing bubble, because the housing bubble is the one that is completely inflated right now. And when many people lose their jobs and can't pay these payments, who's going to pay it for them? No one. They have to pay them. They can't pay them. Foreclosure comes in. The bank takes over the home back again, and now you have a situation where people are going homeless. But while that is happening in those times, before that happens, that transition is all going to happen at the same time, where all of it crashes. At the very same time, somebody has to do something to bail out the economy or the banks, and that's going to be the government, and eventually is going to be induced within the taxation system over the next many or a few years to come. Hopefully that answers it, Manjit. As far as putting a time frame, there's no way. No one can give you actually even that, just a particular time, because we don't know from this side when they will. I give you the recipe to the meal. How long will it take to cook? Well, you got a lot of other chefs here besides just me and you that are also taken advantage of this situation or